When it comes to the AI stuff, I see it as very detrimental in more ways than a lot of people are seeming to mention. Although I'm sure there's other people that have touched on this point, but it's not just the job loss and job market, which I am going to touch on in this video, but it is also more ways to deprave us from person-to-person experiences, essentially speeding up the process and exacerbating the damage that social media has already done and dating apps have already done. And so many things nowadays that we see that are really depraving us from the human soul. When it comes to the AI stuff with the job market, this is something that's important to remember. As far back as I can remember, companies, corporations have been trying to essentially shortchange the worker, eliminate the middleman, and find ways to speed up the process without having to pay people a fair amount of money. For example, if you guys were around during the early 2000s or 90s, you remember Hollywood Video and Blockbuster, where you would go in person and you would rent movies or video games. You would talk to someone at the front, the cashier, and there'd likely be someone else on the sales floor helping you. Then we went from Hollywood Video and Blockbuster to Redbox, where you would still go in person, but it would be to a machine where you'd put the money in or put your card in and rent a movie and bring it back. Speed it up to the modern day, and we have streaming services, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and such, where now there's really no middleman at all. It's just straight up software, and you're doing it from your home. Even things like movie theaters when I was a kid were always packed. Of course, movie tickets were cheaper back then, but even movie theaters, I don't see a whole lot of people going to movie theaters anymore. So, more so than the AI itself, what I really think is to blame for a lot of these issues is greed of these companies. I mean, you even want to look at other things, why movies nowadays in Hollywood seem so unoriginal and are just rehashes of old ones, remakes that didn't need to happen, or sequels that didn't need to happen. Blame greed for that. You want to know why video games seem to have really just all seem like cash grabs for the most part? Blame greed for that. This AI stuff, I worry, is just going to exacerbate and allow that process to go up even further. Even more opportunities to shortchange the American worker. Even stuff like calling if you have like a credit card issue or some kind of service. Already right now, and for many years now, you would be connected to a line of robotics and AI voices and stuff, where it would be a maze of jumble of questions where you just want to talk to a real person. Because let's be honest, guys, it's never going to be the same. I mean, I myself, if I've ever had something to say to someone that was especially a little bit more serious, I never was a fan of doing it over text or when I always want to talk to the person to convey what I mean in the message. Now, the issue is, to my point, once you do get the jumble and maze of robot questions and stuff, whenever they do connect you to a person, it's likely someone overseas, where the wages are far, far cheaper. Again, ways that they can shortchange people and save money. So, this is something that is not a new phenomenon in terms of the greed, in terms of ways to shortchange, but it's something I see as speeding up the process. And yes, I do believe a lot of white-collar work is going to be replaced by AI. I have friends that got good degrees from good colleges in software engineering, computer science, and they've been out of work for some time. They haven't been able to find jobs. Keep in mind, these are people that were making like $130,000 a year as postgrads right out of college, and they're out of work and can't find jobs. So that's what I want to touch on with the job stuff. Now, the bigger issue, or as well of a big issue, is more and more now we are in what I would consider, and I think many people have considered, is a no-trust society, where we don't really know what's real, what's genuine anymore. More and more now I'm seeing stuff on Instagram, on Facebook, that are AI-generated videos, but they look so real now that it would probably fool most people, especially people who are not around during the rise of technology, especially people who are perhaps a little bit naive to it. They would think these videos are authentic or genuine. I mean, I myself have come across many videos. I'm like, this is pretty extreme. It looks real, but I sure as heck hope this is AI. And a lot of the time it is AI, but it seems like a lot of time now you just can't even tell. When it comes to even the companionship stuff, I've been seeing weird ads. I don't get this as much lately. Maybe my algorithm's just screwed up, but weird ads on YouTube and stuff of AI companions, like AI girlfriends and stuff, to where, I mean, let's be honest, the dating market in 2025 is in a weird place right now, to say the least. You might even see people using that as a legit option because so many people have already clocked out from dating and relationships, which crazy to think about. It's already bad enough with the social media and dating app stuff, how superficial it already is. That's one of the last things we need. Now, even with the person-to-person stuff, I'll say this. I think this is an important point to remember. I myself was not the most sociable, outgoing person growing up, but I understand that humans are naturally social creatures at a primal level. We should see people person to person. When I go out now, when I was a kid, even people I've talked to who were kids in the 70s and 80s, said that malls used to be packed, nonstop, all day, every day, essentially. Malls were just packed. Now malls are hardly even a thing. I go to malls nowadays, and a lot of the time they're just empty. Not a lot of people in them. And even the past couple days, a couple days ago was Halloween night. Didn't see hardly any trick-or-treaters out. When I was a kid, the whole neighborhood, the whole block was just full of kids nonstop. Now, of course, you still have people that do it. But it's not something that's as common nowadays as it was back then. You don't see as many people going out nowadays. You don't see as many people having person-to-person interactions. As well with the AI stuff is I myself would DoorDash on the side every now and then. And most recently, I was at a McDonald's. And I've seen this at a few other McDonald's and even at places that are private businesses where you would take orders on a tablet. You would not even have a person-to-person interaction. The most you'd have is when the food's ready, they hand you the food, and that's that. Everything is becoming so much less engaging, if that's the right word. Which it's crazy things. You could think, yes, in a ways it is making things easier. But it's never a good thing to cut back on jobs. Even stuff like self-checkouts at a grocery store. I don't agree that they should limit these things because there's so many people right now who are out of work. And look, I'm going to touch on eventually on this channel, which I've touched a little bit already, but economics and toxic work environments and how unaffordable things are already. I mean, you look at economic indicators like the price of gold being $4,400 an ounce. When I was looking at gold and buying gold here and there in 2016, I think it was around maybe not even 1,000 ounce, maybe 1,100 ounce at the most. So there's clearly a problem. The last thing we need is to cut back on jobs. I seriously worry that in the next few years, if so many people are going to be out of work, then how are they going to survive? People can barely survive now to begin with. People in many states and cities around the world are really just scraping by. And this is so backwards because no matter how you feel about, oh, well, this person made this decision, you shouldn't have to be some dentist or doctor or exec at Microsoft or Boeing employee to be able to live comfortably. If you are working a full-time job, 40 hours a week, doesn't matter if you're a McDonald's employee, doesn't matter if you're a Safeway grocery clerk, you should be able to live comfortably. That's the thing I truly believe in. My parents' generation, they were able to live comfortably, pay their college tuition, pay their rent, pay their necessities, and still have some money left over, working minimum wage jobs. So this is really an issue, guys. With the corporate greed stuff, it's important to realize for a long time now, they've been trying to shortchange us, shortchange us with overseas labor, with replacement of people with software. The AI, I just worry, is going to speed up the process. The person-to-person stuff, social media has already wreaked havoc on that. We're already in a weird no-trust society now, where people are so paranoid of one another, which I am going to touch on as well. The rise in narcissism, how good people seem to be getting punished for trying to do the right thing. Anyway, guys, just my thoughts on the AI, rise in AI we see nowadays. Appreciate you viewing the channel, and thank you so much for viewing the video.